These are the kind of trips I enjoy most. Long drives, quiet trails, and places that feel far from everyday life. I travel to remote areas to explore and slow things down, not to stay glued to my phone. But along the way, there are moments where it's nice if everything just works. Navigation, music, or a quick call home. Today, I brought along a device that might just help.
Welcome back to Destination Journey. Today we are going to be installing and reviewing this HiBoost cell phone signal booster. This particular model is their off-road and overlanding specific cell signal booster, the Traveler 3 ExplorerX. For some of you that don't know what a cell phone signal booster is, this is a device that you can use when you're starting to get off the grid, where cell phone signal is still a little bit spotty. You do need a cell phone signal of some degree to make this thing work. So say you have one bar, or you're kind of bouncing in and out of one bar, no reception. What this device will do, it'll boost that signal. Maybe it'll bring it up to a full bar or 2 bars in order for you to make a solid phone call without the call dropping. Another thing it'll do is, it allows you to upload and download a little bit more data. So you could stream music longer with this if that's what you're doing, or you could use your navigation before having to rely on offline maps, check the weather, things like that. It's just a really nice creature comfort to have along while you're on overlanding or off-roading trip and you're starting to get kind of a little bit further away from towns and cities that have good cell phone reception. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about these as a great tool to have in case of an emergency. And yes, if you do have some level of a signal, this will allow you to get that phone call out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with the external antenna first. I also have a rooftop tent on my 4Runner, so I was thinking I could mount this to the top of the rooftop tent. There is a channel up there that I could slide some T-nuts into to mount this bracket to. But even if that was down, I still feel it could get caught on some branches. So I'm actually gonna mount it to the back of the rooftop tent. I have a couple pieces of angled aluminum that I'm going to use as brackets back here and mount this little attachment to that. And then when I'm not using the antenna, I can swing it down behind the rooftop tent so it's fully protected. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So this is what I was talking about with those aluminum brackets. So I went ahead and mounted it to the antenna mount. And now I have a way to securely mount this to my rooftop tent. So we're just gonna use these channels, slide in some T-nuts, and bolt this on.
Once the mount is secure and I've attached the spring, I route the exterior antenna cable through the extender, then secure the antenna catch with zip ties. Next, I connect the exterior antenna cable to the long run that goes into the cab. I seal that connection with heat shrink to keep moisture out, especially important with Minnesota weather and road spray. I route the cable forward along the windshield using an existing wire hider, then down under the hood and through the factory firewall grommet on the passenger side. Inside the cab, the cable runs under the passenger's seat and connects directly to the booster. I attach the interior cable and mount the antenna in a central location so it works for me and any passenger. Then connect the DC power and plug it in. And that's really it. Once the exterior cable is cleaned up and zip tied in place, the system is ready to go. From start to finish, this took about 30 minutes.
All right, now that we have the HiBoost installed, I went ahead and backed out of the shop, and we're gonna go ahead and fire this thing up and make sure everything's working properly. So what you're gonna wanna do is download their app, which is the Signal Supervisor app. And I'm gonna go ahead and fire that up here. I've already downloaded it. And this is gonna tell you how well your HiBoost is actually working. What you're looking for here is 50 decibels of gain across all of these four signals that are coming in, these cell signals that are coming in. And what that tells you is that your external antenna and your internal antenna are working properly. You have them far enough apart that they're not interfering with each other. And so whatever signal is out there, I'm getting full gain on all four of these signals, so 50 decibels of gain. So that doesn't necessarily say how good the gain itself is. That all depends on the strength of the signal coming in. But you can see here on the LTE 700, I'm getting super, and the rest of them are good. All right, now that I know everything is set up properly, I have my external, internal antennas in a great place for this to work properly. I want to actually test how much of a boost I'm getting when the booster is turned on versus turned off. And in order for us to do that, I'm going to run just a basic speed test using a speed test app. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on. Okay, with the HiBoost turned on, I'm gonna go ahead and start this test. So we are connecting. And now this is testing the download speed first, megabytes per second. And we're pushing over 600, so 660 almost for download speed. For upload speed, right around 60 megabytes per second. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and turn the booster off and then run this test again. And again, starting off with the download speed, I think we had 650 with it on, 325, so half for our download speed. For upload speeds, we're not even close. So we have around, let's say 13.8 upload. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn the booster back on. I just wanna test it one more time to make sure if there's any inconsistencies, let it fire back up a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and push go. All right, with the HiBoost turned back on, we're pushing into the 600s again. So it's consistent, not 650, but 617, still very close. And our upload speeds are 95. So the HiBoost is definitely making a big difference. All right, everything seems to be hooked up properly. We're gonna go ahead, get the 4Runner set up for this trip and head up north.
Trips like this are why I come up here. Snow-covered trails, long stretches of road, and places that feel far removed from everything else. This is a real test, not a controlled environment. Real travel through a remote area like northern Minnesota, deep into the North Shore, on trails I've driven many times before. What stood out right away was consistency. I had usable cell service almost the entire trip. I streamed music most of the way without interruptions. I looked up directions on the fly without needing to switch straight to offline maps. And the main thing I've expected up here was drop calls, and that just didn't happen. In the past, it's been normal for calls to cut out or never connect at all. This time, I was able to stay in contact with home almost the entire trip. There were only 2 or 3 moments where I had no cell service whatsoever, and even then, it didn't last very long. My friend driving separately in the Jeep didn't have a booster and had much more spotty reception through the same trails. We were out there, almost all the way to Canada, and I had better service than I've ever experienced in this area before. I've traveled this stretch of northern Minnesota many times, and I've never had cell coverage this consistent. For me, the HiBoost proved itself out here, on long drives, remote trails, and in places where service is usually unreliable. And the best part is, unlike satellite communicators like my Zoleo, there's no monthly or yearly subscription. Once it's installed, it just works, as long as there's some signal to work with. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll have a link and discount code in the description, and you'll also see a QR code on the screen.